Welcome to Everything You Need to Know About the Ascension of Humanity, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern science and spiritual evolution gets real. I'm Heather, an energy healer, channel, and spiritual coach with Divine Ascension Company. Each week, we're diving deep into the mysteries of human consciousness, spiritual awakening, and the profound transformation happening within us and around us. But here's the thing. We're not doing this with our heads in the clouds. We're bringing neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, and cutting-edge research to the table alongside meditation, energy work, and timeless spiritual teachings. Because the truth is, the ascension of humanity isn't some far-off cosmic event. It's happening right now in the choices we make, the awareness we cultivate, and the healing we do within ourselves. Whether you're curious about how mindfulness literally rewires your brain, why shadow work is backed by depth psychology, or what coherence between your heart and mind actually means scientifically, you're in the right place. We'll explore practices like breathwork, meditation, and emotional alchemy, not as abstract concepts, but as tangible tools grounded in both spiritual wisdom and scientific understanding. And here's where it gets even better. In our bonus episodes, you'll hear from real people sharing real stories. These are the warriors, the healers, the everyday seekers who've walked through their own darkness and found their light. They'll share their breakthroughs, their struggles, and the resources that actually helped them along the way. Because personal growth isn't a solo journey, and you deserve to know you're not alone. So whether you're just beginning to question the nature of reality, or you're deep in your spiritual practice, this podcast is your companion on the path. It's time to expand, to awaken, and to rise together. Let's begin. Today's guest lost her father twice, in a way. First, to a workplace shooting that left him with a traumatic brain injury, and then years later, for good, after she spent that entire stretch as his full-time caregiver. She didn't get to properly grieve the first loss until the second one forced her to do so. Darcie is the host of the School of Hard Knocks podcast, an NLP practitioner, a clinical hypnosis practitioner, and a 2-time best-selling collaborative author. She built her trauma toolbox work out of necessity, not theory, and this conversation is full of the kind of practical, no-nonsense grief wisdom you only get from someone who has actually lived it. We talk about the difference between staying stuck and moving forward without skipping the crying, her own reboot practice for processing hard moments without letting them take over the whole day, and how to actually support a friend who's grieving without becoming just another exhausted sounding board. Then we get into something I wanted her to share for a while. The signs she believes her father has been sending since he passed. The number 3 showing up everywhere. A blue jay at her door the day she picked up his ashes. A movie that rewound itself to his favorite song. Well, I'll just let her tell it. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Darcie. I was just recently on her podcast, and she's such an amazing woman. We had so much amazing things to talk about. I'm really excited for you guys to meet her. How are you doing today, Darcie?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful in this gorgeous, rainy Washington day.
Oh, no, we're actually getting blue skies and sun in Wisconsin, so I'm not going to complain.
There you go. Awesome. So why don't you go ahead and get us started and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Great. So my name is Darcie. I do live in Wisconsin. I am kind of a jack of all trades. So I am the podcast host of the School of Hard Knocks. I'm also an NLP practitioner, success coach, clinical hypnosis practitioner. I work with time management, limiting beliefs, things like that. But my main goal is to help show people how they can use trauma toolboxes, as I call them, to be able to get over through the hard things that life throws at us.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's something that is very much needed right now in this world with everything that we're going through. What's your favorite tool thing in your toolbox?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's just so many of them that I've created, but my favorite one is probably reading the Bible.
Really?
I mean, yeah, my connection with God has been so strong in the last decade, but in the last 6 years in particular. So I've gone through something actually fairly traumatic a little over 6 years ago. And yeah, he was the only one that stayed true and walked by my side the entire time. So that's my favorite tool.
Awesome. Awesome. So what got you from being an NLP into doing what you're doing now?
So NLP is something that a really good friend of mine has done for a long period of time already. And she's one of the most amazing women that I've ever met in my life. And she said, man, you really have the compassion for helping people. There's actual tools that, you can serve and help people with. And I said, well, I'll think about it. Because at that time I was a full-time caregiver for my dad. And
Mhm.
I'm like, man, I cannot be taking on all of this stuff. And it wouldn't be right to do it. I don't even have like the manpower to comprehend it at this juncture in my life. Last summer, my husband and I went to a lake house retreat that she had offered. So the NLP and a couple of other things have been done direct to myself, to my husband, but then we got to sit in and watch other people if they were comfortable with it. And it was so emotional
Mhm.
to watch people release, pain, hurt, grief, sadness, repressed things that they have held onto. I mean, I went there with the desire to find peace myself. And I, at that time, was writing. So I was writing in my very first book. I'm also a two-time best-selling author in a collaborative book that I had done with some other women. So I went to write, but I was so in awe of what was happening. I couldn't even do it. And I thought, oh boy, maybe this is something that I would really enjoy. Well, my dad unfortunately passed away in October of last year and I have time. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I should fill this void now and this time that I have with something that can continue to benefit the people around me. So I spent the week getting my certificate as a practitioner and working with clients now is almost like healing a little piece of my heart.
Yeah,
Watching other people be able to reclaim their life back, it's been really special.
absolutely. That's one of the best parts of the job. I agree.
Mhm.
So how exactly do you help people? What's your process? What tools do you have?
Well, I mean, if we're talking NLP is me working with people. I mean, I'm simply a guide, I'm helping you with the things that you already want to do and I'm just bringing it out of your subconscious to the conscious. When it comes to the podcast, I mean, I don't know if you've listened in, but I mean, we are helping people that are stuck in trauma that are looking to get grounded in healing. There are so many powerful stories over there from I cannot believe the things that people have gone through in this life.
Yeah.
And it has turned into me finally feeling comfortable sharing some of the really hard stuff that I went through before what it happened to my dad even happened to everybody opening up about their journeys through life and what they've been through and how they've successfully gained ground again because
Mhm.
that's the hope, right? Like hard things are going to happen, it's whether you choose to stay stuck there or if you're going to get grounded in healing that truly matters.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And it's amazing because people, I think there's this level of expectation when it comes to healing that people are like, oh, it has to be really difficult, or oh, I need medication, or oh, whatever. But even just take your podcast, for example, just being able to tell the story and to release that energy. And, and I know some people don't want to relive their stories, which is fine, but even just something as simple as talking about it a little bit, it's like taking a huge weight off your shoulders. How's that
Yeah, I
experience
mean, I've
been for
had
you?
people actually tell me, geez, this conversation felt kind of like therapy. I mean, when you're, in grief, we really burn. And I don't get mad if I say this. Like I always say this on my podcast. Some of this is gonna sting. And if it stings, it means that you need it. That's all. That's like if you cut yourself and you put peroxide on it, you're like, oh shit, that really hurt. You need it to clean the wound though. Okay. So let's just say that there's no time limit on healing. There's no time limit on grief or pain, but there is a time limit on our life.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to choose to stay stuck in a situation, we can't be upset when 5, 10 years goes by and you see all of this time that was focused on something I can't fix. It doesn't matter how much I cry, how much I plead. God is never going to say, ever, I did not realize that this was going to impact Darcie like this. I'm going to put Bill back on earth.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
So what we tend to do is we tend to stay so stuck in that pain, and then we start burning our people out.
Mm-hmm.
Because our people are like, oh gosh, I feel so bad for her, but I can't fix it either. And
Right.
it's like every time I see her, she's sad and she's moping and she's crying and she's depressed. And then she'll go through a moment of, I'm fine, when we know she's not.
Right.
Like, take care of yourself, show yourself grace, be kind to yourself. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to smash something, smash something. Write something down and then light it on fire. Scream, go out in the woods and like let the deers and everything hear you or wherever you're from, right? Like,
Mhm.
don't just sit at home and call your top 3 people. Do that still, do that, but at least be taking steps forward. It's not going to make your people around you feel so helpless and hopeless. I mean, think of how you feel when somebody you care about is going through something and they keep calling and they're just broken and you want to help them, but you cannot.
Mhm.
It's one thing to support somebody when you can see that they're trying to get through it versus trying to support somebody who's just stuck in the mud and spinning their wheels and now we're all frustrated.
Right. So speaking of that, like you put out some good pointers for someone who's going through the grief. But if let's say that you're the friend, you're the support system, and you know someone who's going through a traumatic experience or a bout of grief or, frustration in that aspect, what do you suggest that they can do to help actually support their friend who's going through that?
Always listen. I mean, you should be, if somebody is reaching out to you in their most vulnerable moments, you have to be patient, you have to be kind, right? Because you're their safe person. You're who they're reaching out to, so you don't want to damage that. But I would definitely encourage and promote motivation. Like I think so many of us get stuck in this. Listen, Heather, we've talked about this like 10 times already, and I really gave you everything I have, and I don't know what else to tell you. So let's just stop talking about it. That is like not something you want to be doing,
Right.
right? Like your approach to somebody like, oh man, Heather, I am so sorry that you're still going through what you're going through. Have you recently been outside or did you catch the Grammys the other night? Sometimes just changing the conversation, sometimes just changing the vibe. And some people will yo-yo and come back and be like, yeah, I saw what was on TV the other night and I still cannot believe that my dad died. I mean, he would have loved how they talked about Ozzy on there. That was like his favorite thing. He loved that kind of music. Yeah, I know. Like, what was his favorite song? Cool. Yeah. Have you ever gone to a concert before? Like, keep trying to shift because they need help.
Mhm.
If somebody was stuck, like, I don't know, like, if you live in where there's winter or if you live where there's mud or whatever it is, but wherever a vehicle could get stuck, would you just sit there and watch somebody spin their wheels until there was no rubber left on the wheels to spin? Or would you figure out, do we have to push? Do we need to rock? Do we need to put cat litter down? Do we need to call a tow truck? What do we need to do? As somebody's friend and somebody's support person, you still need to arm yourself with the appropriate ways to help your friend.
Mhm.
Being the sounding board all of the time isn't helpful, especially when we're like a year in.
Yeah.
Once we hit that year mark, if they're still so stuck in it, it's your job as their person. If you want to be their person, which you must because you keep answering the phone, to figure out how you can truly help your person.
Mhm. Absolutely. So what helped you? You touched briefly on your dad passing away, and I know we talked about this before. What helped you get through that grief period?
Well, for me, it was a lot of having to just submit and pray. I mean, there was our background with what happened with my dad was just so tragic and so traumatic from 6 years ago that I had been grieving this whole entire time, but I was so intimately involved in my dad's care that I wasn't even able to actually grieve what even happened in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to shift how I was treating myself because I used to pride myself that I used to wear a superwoman cape. And I think a lot of us do, right? Like,
Right.
oh my gosh, I've got the kids, I've got the dishes, I've got dinner, the husband's happy, the plants outside have been watered, and my school people. And I mean, just so many different things that we think that we should hold on to. That's ridiculous. Like in my trauma toolbox workshop that I coach, I actually have a visual that we go through and we take that thing off and we put it away. We don't throw it away because it's still a part of us, but put it away because we are not super women and there's nothing wrong with that. We're human.
Right.
We were built to be human. So I thought, I'm doing this differently. The way that I process through things, I'm going to do it differently this time because I want to heal appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 days in, I couldn't sit in my living room for the first few days because my dad's recliner and I would just, it was activator, activator, activator the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So I took myself out of the situation, and my bedroom is my safe place. My 3 dogs enjoy that too. They all lay on the bed right next to me.
Right.
And I'm in my safe place for 3 days. And then I thought, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, it's 3 days. You're not just gonna stay upstairs all the time. So I came walking down the stairs and my husband was playing Led Zeppelin. My dad loved Led Zeppelin. And I have where my stairwell is, I could have looked to the right and my dad should have been sitting there. And I remember saying, don't even look because he's not going to be sitting there. Just keep walking. And I walked through the dining room, the kitchen, and went out in the garage and started deep breathing and going, you're fine. You're fine. Like, everything's fine. And then I thought, what the actual F are you saying to yourself? You're not fine. Your dad just died 3 days ago. You found your dad 3 days ago, Darcie. Treat yourself gently. Like, it's okay to cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be in this moment. And I did. Like, it was like this little girl cry, just scream crying. And my husband came running out, panicked, like, what's happening? And I said it was the music. It was the music. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even think. And I said, no, babe, you're doing what you have to do to process through losing your father-in-law that he was also taken care of,
Right.
so you do that. That's not you. I just needed to have a moment, and I allowed myself to have a moment, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's it. I've really practiced that. I'm not allowing this to go on all day,
Mm-hmm.
all week, all month, all year, all my life. I am making the physical choice to say, whew, okay, we got that out. What are we doing? We have to make lunch or something now, and let's keep going.
Right.
So instead of allowing it to take up the whole entire afternoon, give yourself that moment, shake it off, take a deep breath, and keep moving because we can do it. We can do it. It's just easier to say, I was just activated. Now I have to grab my blanket and go and sit on the sofa and watch like Hallmark movies all day long. No, you don't. You don't. You can take a deep breath and go, oof, gosh, that was rough, but what's next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That sounds a little bit more, I want to say productive, but I don't think that's the right word because that has an insinuation that you have to be actually producing something. But it
Mm-hmm.
seems more conducive for healing than letting it get stuck. And I think that's one of the most difficult parts about grief and loss and addiction and these states of mind that we get into. Even I was just talking about this yesterday, even, receiving a medical diagnosis, we have a tendency to allow that to become our identity. And then we get stuck in that loop. And it's like, but are you happy there? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have the power to change that. And yes, it's going to be hard. It's going to take work. And, there's going to be tears, there's going to be anger and frustration, but you can get through it. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's forward movement.
Hmm.
It's not really like having to be productive. It's forward movement. It's progress.
Yes.
Every single day when you realize, I call it my reboot time, actually. My reboot time when this first happened in our life was days sometimes where I wouldn't shower, I would eat horribly, I would cry until I was like, how is there even liquid left in there?
Right.
What is even happening? Like I don't know if you ever cried so hard you're like actually dehydrated. You're like, why am I drinking all of this water? And then it's all just pouring out because I'm crying so much. My reboot time now, I mean, if I clock it, I used to say it's 20 minutes or less. I'm probably right around 15 minutes.
Nice.
And I don't clock it. I'm not like looking at the time, like, all right, cry for 15 minutes. I'm not doing that. I just realize once I'm able to do this,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, that was good job. And then I celebrate me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
good job. Way to go. Loving yourself and taking care of yourself and having that moment, Darcie. Like, good job. It sounds so like weird to do. Like, people are like, oh, this woman be talking to herself. Hell yeah, I'm talking to myself. Who else is telling me they're proud of me for what I'm doing? Nobody.
Right.
Nobody is going to say, wow, you've processed through this loss with your dad so well. We're so proud of you. Actually, what I'm hearing is what's going on? This is weird. Like your dad just died 6 months ago. Why are you like your makeup's on? You're still podcasting. You're still writing. You're still how? How is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be offensive. Like, what are you implying that I don't care?
Right.
Is that what you're implying?
Everybody goes through their own process, and that's the
Mhm.
thing. Like you did. It's not like you didn't have that period, right? They just weren't there to witness it. So, and you didn't
Mhm.
let it take over. And so, yeah, that's amazing. So, I wanted to talk about after your dad passed away. We touched on this briefly when I was on your show, but the paranormal experiences that you've had since then. I kind of want to hear more about that if you're willing to share.
I mean, oh my gosh, I have quite a few of them. So when my dad was a survivor of a workplace shooting, October 3rd, 2019. The day that he was shot, he has $301 in his pocket, which is so weird. Like, why $301? That is so weird. So that happened. And then as I started like going through processing through things, the number three kept popping up, kept popping up. And when I went down to Chicago with my dad, so he could get some brain rehab, he ended up with a traumatic brain injury from the shooting that happened from the way he fell. The bus route that was coming around was number three, and it was like 333 on a lot of my receipts. And I'm just like, what is this? And one of my fathers told me it's the Trinity. It's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I should really start looking out for that more. Well, after I told my dad this about the three things, so he knew my dad's disability with his TBI was more physical than mental. So I told him about it. So, not 5 days after my dad passed away, I said, let's go and do the chairlift at Red Mountain, which is a mountain here in my area. And I've done this before, but I never noticed as we were going that they had like numbers on all of like the bigger platforms as you're going up. So I'm coming down and I'm like, Dad, if you're here with us in my mind, stop us outside the one that's three. And I'm like getting excited about it. Like, oh, I know my dad. And he's like super strong willed and we're gonna stop. And I'm like waiting for it. And we soar right past it. And I'm like, oh, well, that was disappointing. Well, then we get to the bottom, and the guy's like, do you guys want to go around again? And we've done this several times, and I've never been asked, do you want to go back up the mountain and come down again? So I said, yeah, I mean, why not? Great. Thanks so much for that. So we go up, and we're going up, and we stop. And we stop right outside of the number three.
Of course.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like elbowing my husband. I'm like, do you see where we just stopped? And I like grab my camera to take a photo. Well, it was so cool when we got home because the biggest greenish orb that was out next to this three, that as people started looking at it, they're like, did you notice that there's a heart inside of that green orb?
Oh.
I said, what? Well, then we left there and we went to Kohl's so that I could return something. Of course, number three was the only register that was open. So then it was like, okay, he's showing me things like three. Cool. Well, then like 3, 4 weeks into it, he kept knocking the basket off of the back of the toilet in the bathroom that was his. I couldn't figure it out. Like it was this really cute basket and it was just flipped over all of the time. And we could hear it. So I said one day, I'm like, Dad, you like just not like the basket there because I put feminine products in it now? I'm like, are you offended? Like, this used to be my bathroom. I'm like, what's going on? So then I'm like telling people about it, and then you get people who are like, oh, you know, maybe you're reaching. I know you're really missing your dad. I'm like, okay. Well, then he must have got irritated about that because instead of just forward, he slid it all the way across so it landed in the wastebasket. I said, oh my gosh. Okay. So, the day I picked his ashes up, we came home with his ashes and my alarm went off that somebody was at the door when we were gone. So I pulled up the video and there is this bluebird. It's a blue jay that's standing there, like looking right in the camera, moving its head around, almost like beat you home. And I knew it was my dad because his password to his bank account was Bluebird. So I'm like, oh, okay. I wonder if my dad came back like as a blue bird or a blue jay, and this is how he's doing it. Well, most recently, my husband and I are watching Dazed and Confused because why would you not? That's like such a great movie.
It's a good movie.
And one of my dad's favorite songs is Stranglehold by Ted Nugent.
Okay.
And it's so we're all the way through the movie. If you've seen Dazed and Confused, you already know they're up at the water tower and they're partying up there. So this is way into it. So all of a sudden, Stranglehold starts and it plays, and then the movie stops and rewinds itself right to the beginning of the song again. I said, oh my gosh. So it's just been, even when you were on my podcast, you and I were just having like this chat, and I was talking about my dad. We were having an ice storm, but we had been having an ice storm for the whole entire time we were chatting.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I'm talking about my dad, and all of the lights just like shut off. And Heather's like, hello? And then I was back, but my pink sign was still off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just the amount of times that he has showed up just everywhere, all of the time, it's been amazing.
Awesome. That's awesome. And so did you believe, because you have such a strong religious belief, did you believe in the afterlife before this and spirits?
I mean, I believe that people are still able to visit. Yeah, I believe that, in my mind, I've always believed that God allows you to still feel comforted.
Mhm.
Like I think that that's the whole thing is God's a good God and he wants you to feel comforted. I don't I've never seen like an actual spirit type of thing, but I know what I feel.
Mhm.
And I know that when you are going through things that your mind is more open to receiving
Yeah.
these things. I think that some people close down because they don't want to feel it. But I was definitely opening it and I almost expected it.
Mhm.
I think that that's the other thing. Like before my dad passed away, we didn't know he was going to die. But I mean, we had talked about this. If God ever calls you home, just go home, Dad. Like I'm always going to be okay. But make sure that you check in with me periodically so that, I know you're okay and you made it, up there. So I think I was kind of anticipating it too. And it's just been so many times, there's no other reason that it could have happened.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome that he's come back to check on you. And in
Mhm.
ways that you totally picked up on too, because I think the the signs that we do have loved ones around us, our spirit guides, ancestors, deceased loved ones that do come and check on us, I think it happens way more often than we realize because we don't always pick up on those signals. So that's amazing that he was able to use signs that you were able to pick up on right away.
Yeah.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your workshop and your books and tell us, how we can find you.
So there's two different books, Empower Her Volume 1 and then Empower Her the Powerhouse Edition. These are collaborative books that I've done with 24 other women where we're all talking basically from like a grit to grace type of story, the hard things that we've gone through in our life and all of that stuff. And then the podcast is The School of Hard Knocks. So I'm everywhere that you stream. You can find me every single place there. The Trauma Toolbox workshop, so I can do it in person, but Zoom is, equally cool opportunity for me to gather a group of women together to be able to do these workshops. Same thing with NLP. I mean, I was a little bit skeptical when my coach friend was like, you know that you can actually do NLP on Zoom because again, you're not doing it, you're working with them. They're actually doing it. And so that's a really cool opportunity too, to be able to work with people over a Zoom call to help them with whatever it is they're looking to release. It's not just, people who are dealing with grief, pain, anger, pain, all of this kind of stuff. I've helped people that wanted to stop eating chocolate.
Hmm.
I've helped people who wanted to, stop drinking soda, quit smoking cigarettes. So it's basically whatever it is, be more determined, motivated. That's another really big one for people. So it's a pretty open field of what it is I'm able to help with.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that level of accountability I think really helps, even for me because, I'm a coach and a healer, but when it comes to myself, having that other person to kind of hold you accountable really helps with that determination and motivation, 100%.
Definitely.
Awesome. So do you have a website where people can find you?
DarcieBurtch.com. That'll take you to where you can find me in all the places, but I'm literally everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm even on TikTok. That thing is so addicting sometimes, but I'm there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was an amazing pleasure to talk with you again. And yeah, I hope that you continue to hear from your father and that continues to be a beautiful relationship, even though you can't see him anymore. You know he's there. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
If you're feeling called to go deeper, to actually sit in your own records and hear what your soul has been trying to tell you, that's what Akashic Records readings are for. I would love to hold that space for you. You can find everything at divineascensionco.com. Your answers already exist. Let's go find them together.